welcome back to Miss Emily's Story Corner. I hope you're having a great day and a great week. So, we're still learning about the zoo, and we know that animals at the zoo come from lots of different habitats. And the habitats that we've already talked about are the savanna, just like the Lion King, with animals like elephants, hippos, zebras, lions, giraffes, and crocodiles. Also talked about animals that come from the jungle, a place that is super wet and hot with lots of trees and has animals like the tree frog, blue morpho butterfly, toucans, anaconda snakes, sloths, and jaguars. And today we're going to talk about a third habitat where different kinds of animals live. And that habitat is called the desert. Has anybody seen a story or a TV show or a movie that has the desert in it? Maybe like Aladdin. That movie has lots of desert, and the desert is a hot, dry, sandy area. And some deserts have cacti, or cactuses that grow in the desert. So there's different types of animals that live here because it is so hot and dry. So, the story we're going to read today is called Here is the Southwestern Desert. So on the cover, you'll see there's some cacti, there's some rocky mountains, there's an animal right there. Maybe we'll find out what kind of animal that is, okay? So, just like before, if we find any of these animals in our story, we're gonna move them up to our desert picture, okay? So, this story is by Madeleine Dunphy. She's the author. And the illustrator is Anne Coe, so she drew the pictures. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So if you look at the picture, see how the picture is drawn so it looks so hot and dry, the sun's starting to come up? Do you see a lot of trees or green leaves? Nope, I don't. I see some plants and some rocks, but they don't look like the trees that live here, right, friends? Here is the cactus, covered with spines, that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So there's our cactus with lots of prickly spines on it. Here is the hawk that perches on the cactus, covered with spines, that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So a hawk lives in the desert. Here is the lizard who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. Why do you think the cactus has to be able to live without rain for a very long time? Because in the desert it is very hot and dry. So do you think it rains there a lot? No, it does not rain a lot in the desert. Not like the jungle or the rainforest where it rains all the time. So the jungle has lots of trees and green leaves. The desert, it does not rain very much. So the plants, like the cactus that lives in the desert, need to be able to go without rain for a long time because it doesn't rain there very much. Oh, so we had what animal did we have here? A lizard. Do you see a lizard up here? Oh, he's right there. Look. Our little lizard. He lives in the desert. Let's see what other animals we can find. Here is the roadrunner that chases the lizard, who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. Okay, so do we see a roadrunner? A bird that kind of looks like this? Do you see a roadrunner? I see a vulture. What about this guy? Our roadrunner, yes. So we have a lizard and a roadrunner so far from our story that lives in the desert. Here is the tree which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So the desert might have some trees, but it does not have a lot of trees like the jungle. Here is the sun that blazes on the tree which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. Look at that picture. Doesn't it look so hot and dry there? Oh, just making me thirsty. Here is the bobcat who basks in the sun that blazes on the tree which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So there's our bobcat. Do we have a bobcat up here? Nope. Here is the badger that sniffs the bobcat who basks in the sun that blazes on the tree which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines who can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So the badger is sniffing the bobcat and he's right up there. Here is the squirrel, unearthed by the badger that sniffs the bobcat who basks in the sun that blazes on the tree which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. Do you see the squirrel? Oh, there he is. Here is the coyote that pounces on the squirrel, unearthed by the badger that sniffs the bobcat, who basks in the sun that blazes on the tree, which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard, who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus, covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. So we have a coyote up here. Which one is the coyote? Yes, he kind of looks like a wolf. A coyote. We have some of those around here actually too. Here is the snake that hisses at the coyote that pounces on the squirrel, unearthed by the badger that sniffs the bobcat, who basks in the sun that blazes on the tree, which shelters the roadrunner that chases the lizard, who is spied by the hawk that perches on the cactus, covered with spines that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. You see the snake? There he is. And we have a rattlesnake up here. Ooh, yes, a rattlesnake. He lives in the desert. Here is the hare who hears the snake. He probably hears him with his big ears. And if we look on the cover, which animal was on the cover? The hare. He's kind of like a rabbit, but he's called a hare. See his big ears? Those actually help keep him cool in the desert. Here is the hare who hears the snake that hisses at the coyote, that pounces on the squirrel, unearthed by the badger, that sniffs the bobcat, who basks in the sun, that blazes on the tree, which shelters the roadrunner, that chases the lizard, who is spied by the hawk, that perches on the cactus, covered with spines, that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. Oh, and look, this looks just like the cover picture. Here is the cactus that is food for the hare, who hears the snake that hisses at the coyote, that pounces on the squirrel, unearthed by the badger, that sniffs the bobcat, who basks in the sun, that blazes on the tree, which shelters the roadrunner, that chases the lizard, who is spied by the hawk, that perches on the cactus, covered with spines, that can live without rain for a very long time. Here is the Southwestern Desert. Okay, so 2 animals that were not in our story is a vulture. He's kind of like a hawk, but a vulture is a little bit different. He lives in the desert. And a scorpion. Ooh, he lives in the desert too. Okay. So all of our animals that we had that lived in the desert, there was more in the story, but the ones that we have up here are the vulture, the lizard. Do you remember what this one was called? The roadrunner. What about this guy? He looks like a wolf, but he's a coyote. Yes, the rattlesnake and the scorpion. I really like that story because it has a lot of great pictures in it. If we take a look at the front, what plant lives in the desert that we talked about a lot in this story? It has spiky spines on it, and in the story it said the hare eats it. The cactus. So, I have a couple real pictures of a cactus right here. Here's one. Okay. And here's another one. So some cacti grow tall like that one, and some grow in little shapes like this. Now if you look close, what shape are those, I don't want to call them leaves, but what shape is this cactus made out of? What shape do you see? I see some circles like this, but what about this shape? It's like a squished circle, kind of like a zero. An oval, yes. I see that cactus is made out of ovals. What we can do for an art project today is make a cactus. So I cut out some ovals, and you can have an adult draw some ovals for you, or you can try to draw some ovals. They're kind of like zeros, okay, like a squished skinny circle. And then I cut them out. This would be great practice for my friends to be cutting at home. Cutting out round shapes is kind of tricky, but we can do it. So I took my ovals and I placed them on my page. I did brown because like the sand. So I put them together to make it kind of look like this cactus. You can put them together however you want to. Okay, so I just glued them on my paper. And then, remember we made our fork painted bear? We're gonna use the fork to paint the spines on the cactus. So, if you look close, or in the story we could see them, on the cactus, what is on the cactus in this picture? Do you remember what those were called? The spines of the cactus. Those are the pointy little needles that are on the cactus. So we did our shapes. Now I'm gonna take some white paint and my fork and make the spines on it. So I'm just gonna dip, and then I'm gonna press, 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 press to make the spines on my cactus. Okay. See how it's making little lines, just like the spines on the cactus. There we go. So we have our cactus art. That would be super fun to make after we read this story today. So if you make this picture at home or make something similar to it, send me a picture or a video. I would love to see it. And I hope you liked learning about the desert today. That's one of my favorite things to learn about because it is so different from where we live. So I hope you had fun today. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.